been doing this for a long time. How many of you think I'm crazy? Running over and over and over for 20 years. Raise your hands. That's it? Come on. Unless you tell the truth. How many of you think I'm crazy? Okay, good. I am crazy, yes. When I joined the Army, I volunteered to jump out of perfectly good airplanes. That qualifies you as crazy in a lot of people's books. When I was a college student, I decided to go buy a house in South Park for $14,500. My father came down and said, "Son, you're crazy." When I bought my office building for $2,200, he's like, "You're even crazier." Then I bought 2 cottages across the street. He thought I was crazy then too, but now my father and my mother live across the street from me in one of those cottages, and they don't think I'm so crazy anymore. You know, the thing is, I think you have to be a little crazy to put up with what we've put up with in the city of Dayton for the last 25 years, because it's been just straight downhill like soapbox derby, just boom. We've seen people leave, we've seen houses deteriorate, we've seen our community deteriorate. All these times I keep running, I keep saying to you guys, hey, I got some good ideas. In fact, when I look at my literature from 20 years ago, some of the issues I talked about then, we're still talking about today. I am not like the rest of these candidates. Some of them I like. I think I'm friends with all but one. And, you know, I think we have really good candidates, at least for the commission. I don't think you can go wrong with anybody. But we have a big difference between them, because I believe in a different kind of Dayton, a different way of going about it. I mean, from the fact that I videotape every single one of these things, put it up on YouTube to make sure that people are informed. I think open, honest government is important. I think it's so important I went down and protested City Hall and I got arrested. You all remember that. You think I was crazy then? 5 courts didn't think I was crazy. We've got to change things. You've heard the school board members talk about things we need to fix. Well, I got to tell you something. When you got 85% of your students so poor that they qualify for free breakfasts and lunch, and we got 1 computer for every 4 students, we ain't going to cut it. Those kids need to be one-to-one computers, because every job you apply for, every job that's out there requires computer skills. Never mind the fact that our second biggest expense is textbooks. And those textbooks are getting more and more expensive and more obsolete. We can give every student an iPad for a lot less than what our fiscally conservative commission wasted at the corner of Wayne and Wyoming for a Kroger store that never came. They keep saying they don't have any money, but they found $1 million like that to blow up a building downtown that was perfectly good when 2 local developers wanted to develop it. They didn't have any money. Some guy from out of state comes, boom, we got money. We tear it down. Great building, gone. So yeah, I am crazy. I want to put iPads in the hands of every student. If nothing else, just so they have reading materials. You hear about the 3rd grade reading guarantee? You go into those homes, they don't have books. Well, like it or not, books that are 100 years old, 75 years old are still really good books. I know all of you read Moby Dick, you read Jules Verne. Those books are free and then they'll open. You have a device, you can read them. You don't have the device, you got to buy a book. Makes no sense to be buying books anymore. I want to have Wi-Fi over the entire city. This isn't something new or amazing or anything. It's just the fact that Estonia, most of you don't even know where Estonia is, except I think the Turks, they probably know where Estonia is. But Estonia is like a 3rd world nation, and they have had Wi-Fi over their entire country since 2002. And we need faster internet access. It was a great idea the City Commission thought when Google was offering it through Google Fiber, but when they went to Kansas City, we gave up on it. We have a fiber system in the city. We need to expand it. We need to make sure that every student here has the ability to get online and learn at their own pace. I got a story to tell you. There's a kid in Mongolia. You've heard of Mongolia. Not exactly the internet mecca of the world. The kid took the class from MIT, one of the massively open online courses. He aced the class in circuit design, and guess what? They accepted him to MIT. MIT is not an easy school to get into. Kid from Mongolia has a better chance of getting into MIT than kids in West Dayton, because I can tell you there are parts of West Dayton where my cell phone doesn't even get internet access. That's because there's discrimination against poor people in poor communities. We're going to have to do some things ourselves, and we're going to have to do them very different. And that is not going to come from candidates. They're still working for the people who paid off their $260,000 campaign bill for the primary to get 5,000 votes. My time's up. I'm running for $10,000. My name's David Esrati. I am not like the rest of these people, and I hope you recognize that and go out and tell people. Thank you very much.
North Main Street and Dayton adjacent neighborhoods have become a marketplace for illegal drug trade. As residents, we observe drug exchanges, money transfers before our very eyes. Fallout from this activity has infiltrated our neighborhoods and are transforming our streets to places of lawlessness. Dayton police can only do so much. They surveillance the drug deals, they break up drug gangs, dismantling drug businesses. It really doesn't fall in the realm of normal community police enforcement. It's a responsibility of the DEA. Residents can only do so much. Over the past 2 decades, we reported license plates, descriptions of individuals, use of drug hotline, yet the drug trade continues and grows ever larger, infiltrating our communities. Until the drug trade is dismantled, there is no hope for economic recovery of North Main Street. The question do you plan to take to restore our neighborhoods and eradicate drug trafficking, one of the primary causes of crime and deterioration of our neighborhoods? Before I step away, the second one I think is related. It says I am a single woman living in the FROC area. When I am asked where I live, I receive concern and disbelief. I am told that Dayton is not a place for a young single woman like myself to reside. Question: what do you plan to do to restore the reputation of Dayton, Ohio among outlying areas which draw away from the resources of the center city, and they do not respect our center city? So that's for the commission.
What's the order?
I want to make a few remarks, if I can. I wrote that question, and I'm not talking about the social problem of drug abuse or drug use. I'm simply talking about the business of drug trade on Main Street, and nobody's really addressed that. And we don't need snitches because we see it right before our eyes, and the Dayton police do not have resources to address, to combat this issue and do regular community policing. So that is my question. It's not about broad, general aspect of drug users, problem with drug abuse. Okay.
All right. First off, there is hope. When I moved to South Park, my neighborhood looked a lot like what North Main Street looked like. It was rough. It is no longer rough. The values have gone up. It's a good community. I'm going to tell you how that happened. I'm going to tell you the tools we use to combat crime in our neighborhood very effectively. And I'm going to talk about why these things happen, why people get the idea that it's okay to do crime in Dayton because they're not going to get approached. So first off, we made a decision that it wasn't about our houses back about 95, 96. It's about the people in the neighborhood. And we worked really hard to make our neighbors become friends. That's our tagline, where neighbors become friends. And we worked very hard at making sure everybody knew each other, got along, had call lists. But you know what's really been the game changer? It's been the internet. And it sounds like, oh, what is Roddy? All he thinks is the internet will solve all problems. But I can tell you this, a well-informed neighborhood. I had a guy come hustling me, try to tell me he's a veteran, and he'd been turned down for money from the Veterans Service Board, and that he needed money to get to California. I took his picture, put it up online. All these people say, I know that guy. I called the Veterans Service guy who I know, and he's like, we'll help him, but the scam just got, just like that. Everybody knew to watch out for this hustler. We had a woman who was very against security cameras in the neighborhood. Then her boyfriend's car got hit in the middle of the night. And one of those cameras picked up the car, and they found out who it was. Because people looked at the footage online, and they said, oh, I know that car, and boom, 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 connect the dots. We have been very effective at doing this. And getting people online gives us an opportunity to do something about it. But that's not enough. And that's not what the root cause is. The root cause is when you walk past all these boarded up buildings and everything, and you walk past parks that have backboards that look like this, it's an indication that we have no pride in our community. Okay, that's the backboard at Burkham. They got so embarrassed by me showing this, they took it down. This was the backboard across. That's a nice rim, isn't it? How about Parkside, where we just piled up the branches on our basketball courts because we were too lazy to pick them up and take them away. I went and cleared them up. I've hung over 250 basketball nets on our courts to make sure our kids have places to play. Tried to hang them up down here at E.J. Brown, but guess what? Brand new school building, brand new court, we took the rims down. Because we don't want kids playing basketball because they were getting in fights. Well, that's a police issue. But we don't have enough police officers to make sure the kids don't get in fights. Well, hello. What are we doing about that? Judge Wagner says it's time to eliminate the test so we can hire, the moment somebody drops off, we hire them. I said that 20 years ago. We're long overdue for changing our process. We've had police chiefs that weren't allowed to carry a gun in the city because they hadn't been to our academy, because we have a private boys club running our police department. You all know it? Yes. And it's time for it to stop. Same thing goes to the fire department, by the way. Both of them. It's time to change the system. The people you've had in office for the last 8 and 12 years have had plenty of chances to change it, haven't done it. So, you really have to think, what's going to change things? They're talking about, oh, we're going to tear down all these houses, right? Well, right now the estimated bill for tearing down those houses is $60 million. We can spend $60 million tearing down houses, and then we got $60 million worth of empty lots. I've never heard anybody say, I'm moving to Dayton, Ohio, because they got more empty lots than any place else. We got to do things that make people want to come in and buy the houses and fix them up. Or we got to do something really innovative, like say if you want to build some new development somewhere else and sprawl out our community some more and require more infrastructure, you got to take some inventory off the market. This has been done successfully in other communities. So forcing the people in Austin Landing, every time they want to build something new, they got to take something down somewhere else. So they have to actually pay for it and take it down. But the real matter is, first thing we got to do is stop having the houses get foreclosed on and get the people kicked out. Because when the people get kicked out, you know what happens immediately after. The copper goes out, next thing, the property is unreclaimable and it gets really expensive. So first thing, we got to keep the people in. Second thing, we got to hold the banks accountable, and we got to stop kicking people out for banks when the banks aren't taking care of the properties they already have. I want a judgment in small claims court. I've got a small business. Could I get the sheriff to go and collect that bill? No. Why do the banks get that privilege? Because the banks don't deserve that privilege. We have to do things completely different if we're going to see the Dayton come back. We have to restore pride in our community, pride in our neighborhoods. And last but not least, people keep asking me, aren't you afraid going over there on West Dayton after dark and hanging basketball nets? Nope. I told you I was crazy. But I feel safer walking around hanging basketball nets because the kids respect me. I know I've been out there with the gangbangers, trust me. They come up and they say, Netman's here. I get stopped as I'm walking down the street. Thank you for the nets. These things cost less than yard signs, political yard signs. You see, some candidates have no problems putting them up every corner, every empty lot. They don't care. They'll put them up in front of abandoned houses. I spent my money on basketball nets, and I put 3 new rims up at Princeton because they couldn't play a full court game of basketball out there. That's how we start to solve the drug problem. That's how we start to restore pride in our community. That's how we get out there and say, this is our community. We got a level of pride and respect, and we deserve it from you, and we're not going to tolerate this crap anymore. It's that simple. Thank you.